Good evening. Welcome to Easy 8 Online Painting Club. My name's Danny. Says it right down there at the bottom of the screen. It is very, very warm here in my attic this evening, so I'm not wearing my traditional shirt at the moment. So apologies for that, but it is really, really warm in here. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week since the last time we all spoke. And what an awful show last week was, where I had all those problems with all the cameras. Fortunately, I've managed to have Kess coming over here, who lives quite local, who actually knows everything that goes on with cameras and computers, and was able to help me identify a series of problems that may have actually all led up to those cameras playing up. They've been working absolutely fine up until this evening, where this camera here, the all-important one, has just decided that it's just going to stop working on some occasions. Managed to get it working, and I'm really, really hoping that we manage to, carry on and actually see what it is that I'm doing here on the table. My sincerest apologies for last week. It was rubbish. I was late. And that's just the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? Anyway, I've had a great week. I've done a little bit. I haven't done as much as I wanted to this week, but I was able to kind of play around with some colours and techniques and just or not perfect what I wanted to do, but I'm kind of getting there. However, I did manage to go to a Wargames convention over the weekend with my dad, Geoff from Purple Lion Creations, and we went down to the city of Exeter, which is not too far away from where we live. And we got to see some traders of the local area and from further afield, from further out in the country in the UK. And it was really, really good fun to see everyone kind of get to walk around. It was much smaller than we were expecting, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't good. It was absolutely fantastic to go around and actually meet people. Quite a few people have actually kind of recognised me from the show. So if you're watching this right now, hi, didn't even know you guys were watching. So great to know that you guys are out there and kind of extending out to the community here on Easy 8. It's really kind of fulfilling and enriching for me to know that the show reaches more people than I thought it ever did. More on that show, on that Wargames convention, that show that we went to a little bit later on, because I bought loads of stuff and I want to show all the things off. I want to talk about the people who sold them to me, because there's some wonderful traders there, and I think that you guys should know about them because they're wonderful. Anyway, got some people over there in the live chat. We've got Geoff, we've got Kess at the moment. Hi all, oi oi. Geoff says Friday the 13th. Yeah, it's one of those days. I'm not superstitious, but maybe. Who knows? Who knows? It is baking in this room up here at the moment. I've got the windows open. You might hear birds tweeting outside in a bit. I might have to open up the other window over here, and I'm going to see if I can get the traditional shirt back on again because, yeah. Anyway, cool. If you're new here to Easy 8, it's not a painting tutorial or anything like that. There's loads of that stuff out there already. But this is just like a humble social club where you can come, make some new friends, chill out with some existing friends, kind of talk about what it is that you're painting, share some ideas, get some, inspiration from people who are sharing all of their stuff out there on Facebook, because we're not just here on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, every time we're on Instagram, and we're also on Discord as well. So at the end of the show, if you want to come and join me, probably Kez as well, and quite a few other people from the community, then you can come and join in the Easy 8 after party on Discord. If you want any links to any of those platforms that we're on, just down there in the description of the video, and you'll find everything that you need. Also, some cool places to go and visit on the internet. I've updated the list of cool people that you should go and see and chat to, and have a look at their Facebook accounts, have a look at their business websites and whatever, for all the people that I'm going to mention a little bit later on the show, and people that we've mentioned in the past. So you should definitely go and check them out, because there's some cool stuff out there. Anyway, so what am I going to be doing tonight, apart from regretting that I haven't opened up the windows earlier on? I've got a fan installed in here. I'm going to be working on my Trygon, which is this big beastie. Tyrion is here. Been doing a little bit of work. It feels a bit slow at the moment, but I think it is all starting to come together. I'm just trying to bring out the claws at the moment. Kess is just putting there, hope you have Task Manager open to see how your computer is performing tonight. I can confirm Task Manager is open. I am now looking at it in the background, and we are operating on 54% CPU. Amidst other things, hopefully this camera is going to work. That's what I'm really hoping for now. So do you know what we should do? Let's just go straight over to the workbench and just see if I need to tinker around before we get too far. So let's go. Well, there's the workbench. Now let's see if I pass my hand underneath. Okay, that doesn't mean it won't stop working, but it is working for now, and that's cool. That's good. Let me just enlarge my screen. What's my CPU now? Oh, 57. Not so bad. Not so shabby. Okay, I'm just going to enlarge my screen so I can see what I'm doing a bit better. Here we go. Okay. So the creature that I've been painting recently is the Trygon here. I'm still not entirely happy with the tongue in here. I'd like the tongue to be a bit more standy outy. I'd like the colour of it to be a bit more pop. Do you know what I mean? I want it to be like a bit of a focus. And at the moment, it's really not. The purple colour is good, but maybe blue, but the blue just doesn't look good with the yellow. I don't know. And I've been working on the claws recently because all of the armoured plates on it, it's just a lot of work, and I kind of got a little bit frustrated with it, so I wanted to move on to the claws. All of the claws have all been painted. They've been blocked in with the bone white colours that I use. They've all been washed with Seraphim Sepia, which is a great wash for that sort of thing. I started to dry brush them. This is the only one that I've dry brushed, is right here. And I go back to the bone white colour, which is actually Screaming Skull by Citadel. Waiting for the autofocus to kick in there. There we go. And what I try to do is I try to highlight the point and just bring up some of the edges just to kind of, really identify those. And the colour here is really, really good. Oh, hiccups, excuse me. The colouring here is really, really good. I'm really into that. What I'm trying to avoid is that chalky texture that you can get. I don't know if that's really showing up on the camera right there, but you can get a chalky texture when you're using dry brushing. The trick is, from what I've discovered, is the term dry brushing is a bit of a misnomer. Struggling to get my words out today, because your brush should be ever so slightly damp, like half a droplet of water, if there is such a thing as half a droplet of water, kind of in those bristles. And what that does, it helps keep the paint active, and it helps transfer it from the bristles onto the model. I've learned this from Artis Opus, which is a brand of paintbrush out there, and they've got some really interesting videos on YouTube. Sometimes I just have them on in the background while I'm at home doing some housework, and I kind of just dip in and out and see what the guy's up to, because he's really, really good. And they've got this very unique style of dry brushing, very, very specific brushes. They're wonderful, expensive, and I am going to get some at some point. But they have a little dampening pad, which is like a sponge, which is just kind of like if you were to dip your finger in water and then put that finger into the sponge, that's kind of how damp it is. And just occasionally dipping that brush into that damping pad allows you to kind of reactivate that paint. So, and that helps prevent this chalky texture that I've got here. And that's one of the things that I'm not overly keen of. What I am going to do is I'm going to bring a little bit of Agrax Earthshade. I'm not going to use it as intense as it comes out of the pot, which, where is it? Here it is, because it is quite a dominating colour. So I'm going to maybe water it down a little bit, and I'm just going to use it to just dull out the back end of the claw up there and up here, and just around the edge of the armoured plates, just to kind of give it some depth. And then I might have to come back in with that dry brush all over again. But first things first is literally just some dry brushing. So what I'm going to do here, I've got a piece of tissue here, just a bit of kitchen towel if you like, and I've got a couple of brushes that I like to use for dry brushing. Got just a couple of old synthetic brushes. This one's got some shorter bristles, they're quite stiff towards the end, and they can be quite good for transferring some paint. And this one's a lot longer and softer, and there's a lot more flex in it, so they've kind of got them, some similar sort of, so it's a very different usage for the similar colours. So blabbering, let's get some Screaming Skull out, and I'm going to pop this in the palette here. I think I need to get a fan in the background because it is intensely warm in here. Just going to give that a shake. I'm going to get it on the old Wazomatic there. Wazomatic, I've had people sending me messages, where can I get the Wazomatic? It's not called that. It's not called that. I call it that. Anyway, if you are painting something this evening, or you've got a little project on the go, I would love to know about it. So just literally go over there into the live chat and drop that in there. I'd love to know what it is that you're working on. If you feel so inclined, take a picture of it and drop it over at Facebook. The link is just down there. Would love to know what it is that you're up to this evening. Okay, so I'm just gonna a little bit of Screaming Skull. I'm probably gonna get a bit more than that because I'm gonna be backwards and forwards to that. And I'm just gonna drop that in my palette right here. And I'm just going to make sure that my bristles are all covered in. And then I'm going to transfer transfer most of it to this tissue. Just wipe that off. I want to be very careful about how much I've got. I don't want any like massive streaks. Because I've just picked all that paint out of the pot, it's going to be quite a bit more on the brush than is usually there for dry brushing. So I'm just going to make sure this first bit, I spend a bit of time just really trying to get that out. Okay, there we go. So I've done this claw here. I'm probably just going to move over to this one at the top because it's a bit easier to reach. Yeah, and I'm trying to keep the streaks directional. You can see that I pick it up a little bit on the edge of the grey. That's fine. I'm going to come back in and redo the grey at a later time. And just to pick up some of the other edges, I do just come in a little bit at a different angle. I don't want to go too heavy at this end. Just enough to bring out the edges, some of the details that are in there. Kess says the dry brush claw is looking great. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And I am painting my nails for Exeter Pride Day tomorrow. Oh, back down to Exeter. That's a different thing to be painting this evening. The best of luck. I wonder how the typing's going to go. So if I just go along lengthways, what that's helping me do is actually bring out this line along here. That's kind of cool. And then I'm going to focus a bit more towards the point because I want it to be brighter white at the end and then duller at the rear, just to kind of give it some sort of, I don't know, look of interest. But also, I find having the whiter tip makes it look pointier, makes it look sharper. I compare my claws to the pincer here, and it's actually quite a different look, and I don't really know which one I prefer at the moment. They're both really cool, but they're very different sort of shapes, so they're going to have a different way in which they react. And I also did this one quite a while ago when I was playing around with the technique, so I don't know how, you know, I've obviously come along a little way since I've last done it, and I don't really know if I'm going to be able to match that, or do I even want to? So now I'll get a little bit more paint back on the old brush. Always hitting my lights with my paintbrushes. Oh man, it is warm in here. It is so warm. Okay. Probably a bit too much on the paintbrush there. If you've got too much paint on your dry brush, you're just going to leave great big, you know, swathes of colour, and it just looks rubbish really. So I'm just trying to be very careful about that. And if it does happen, if I'm doing these kind of directional strokes towards the point, I'm hoping that if I can't get rid of it, at least it kind of blends in. Geoff says, spent all day dry brushing 17 model gardens, good God. And yes, I dry brush the grass on my builds. 17 model gardens. Would love to see some photos of that, so by all means, even if it's a customer build and you're happy to share it, stick it up on Facebook. Share it, get the world to see it. There we go. What I'm trying to do also is, as I'm doing this claw, is I'm trying to match its appearance as much as possible to this one over here, so that by the end of it, because there are so many claws, I don't end up with all the claws looking entirely different, because that would be rubbish. I'm not normally a massive fan of dry brushing, but it does have its place, and this is obviously one of them. That's why I'm using it, I suppose. Let's try and make sure that I'm in shot this time, shall we? So what I'm going to do, because I haven't got a damp brush here, and the brush is quite dry and quite tacky, is something that I was doing the other day. My brushes are nowhere near as good as the Opus Artist ones. Is I just Artiste Opus, I can never say that properly. I just get a little drop of water on my fingertip, and then I just basically just put that moisture into the bristles, and then just dry brush against the tissue, and then you can start seeing the colour activating again. It's very good. It's definitely a very positive technique to do. So if you're interested in it, yeah, have a little look. Go to YouTube. You're already there. Go and check out Artist Opus. When Kess was around here helping me the other day with the cameras and the computers, I was talking about Artist Opus because they're on the forefront of my mind at the moment. Kess could also probably agree that it was such a good demonstration of the dry brushing technique that he actually went and bought a load of their gear on the spot as we were talking. It's good stuff, it is. Let's see if I can get back in here. The problem with this model, it's not the world's biggest problem, but it's just it's so awkward to get a brush in and around everything. It's almost like I need to design some specialist brushes with really small handles and kind of angled ferrules perhaps, so that I can get into these very awkward sort of positions. I might come in with a different brush in a second and see if the different shaped bristles do anything for me. Kess says, I did, and it has arrived. No, I've not used it yet though. Okay. Very excited. What did you actually buy? Because I understand that you've actually got some decent dry brushes, which are very similar to the Artist Opus ones from Army Painter. I don't know if the quality if there's a difference in quality between the two brands, but obviously you bought the extra gear from Artist Opus, like the dampening pad, for example, and there's a texture palette as well. I thought you bought a few other bits and pieces. It'd be very interesting to see the difference between the two, if there is a quality difference. And I know that Army Painter are a very good brand because I use one of their brushes here. This is the Wargamer Regiment brush. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with this brush here, slightly stiffer bristles. I'm going to put a bit of moisture into them. There we go. Get a bit of that paint on the brush. And just going to see if I can enhance the point of that. Oh, a bit too much there. That's actually much better. It looked like I was just kind of going in the wrong direction. I wasn't quite getting into... Obviously there's some texture that has come off from the dry brushing, and as I was kind of brushing, it was leaving a little deposit on the edge, and I don't think it was really allowing the colour to get into where I wanted it to. But just by going the opposite direction, all seems to have worked. Geoff says, we'll be spray sealing them over the weekend, then a day of taking pics, then a day of boxing it all up, then I'm going to have a day off. It sounds like it's quite a big build. So if you can, stick some pictures up on Facebook. The pictures that you take, don't take extra pictures just for me. I'd love to see what you got out there. Just a little bit more. God, this dry brushing you think would be quick, but sometimes not. Just trying to get the inside point in here. Dry brush. I might even come in with a little wash. Maybe make a little wash out of the bone white colour and just see if that helps blend some colours together later. Okay, cool. I'm gonna, I think for now, call that claw dry brushed. I'm gonna pick out the edges a little bit later on. You can see the difference from here. Oh, coming to shot down. Here we go. You can see the difference there to then this one here. Much more different. So, gonna go back to the other brush. And I know I'm not cleaning my brushes out after I've used them, but I'm going to be going backwards and forwards to them, and I don't really want to make my dry brushes too wet by having to just wash them out all the time. Okay, so I am going to move on to this one here because it's nice and close to my recent one. And you can see that I've got like a little bit of a stripe going on there, and even down towards the end of the tip here. I think what I was doing was I was just kind of, you know, subconsciously experimenting, just playing around with the way that the Seraphim sepia wash moves, or how it looks, and yeah. And in some cases it looks pretty good, and in other places not the best ever. I don't really like the sudden line between the dark and then the white, but yeah, that's what it is. It's certainly going to do that when I bring the Agrax Earthshade onto it, so I'm going to be very, very careful about how I apply that. I just know that I want that extra layer of contrast. When you compare the claws to this pincer here, you can see that there's several layers, or you know, there's a bit more depth to the brown colours because it's different browns, and I really want to bring that back in, so I will. But this is a fun model to play with. It's good. Going back for a bit more Screaming Skull. Gonna get another drop of water on my fingertip. Just put that into the paint as well. Just regularly testing it on the back of my hand, just seeing if, you know, any large amounts of paints come off, because I don't want it to go onto the model. So when I'm satisfied with that, then I put the bristles to the brush. Bristles to the brush. Wow, I think I'm having a brain malfunction day today. Bristles to the miniature. Problem with my brain malfunctions is it's always on YouTube for the whole world to see. Kess says, bought the dampening pad, brush cleaning set, and some extra sponges. Oh yeah, because they actually make some very specific chemicals for purging the paint out of the bristles of your dry brush. Because obviously, dry brushing, naturally, the paint's going to dry. And generally for your brush, that's not very good. Even though you are keeping it slightly more damp than usual, obviously it is going to start clumping up in the bristles, and that can make a very expensive brush useless very, very quickly. So they've got some very, very unique chemicals. It looks suspiciously like methylated spirit. But it may not be. It may just be that it looks very similar, and the idea is that you leave your brush to soak in it for a bit, and then you kind of clean it out as normal. Yeah, so it'd be very interesting, Kez, if you don't mind. It's just kind of putting up some progress reports or something as you start using it. Put up on Facebook. Yeah, and then I will also get some bits and pieces from Artist Opus. See what happens. And I can compare the quality of the brushes, what I've got, to what you've got from RB Painter. It'd be interesting to see if they're similar or nowhere near the same. I bet they are going to be quite similar though. Oh, it's difficult to get in there. That's looking a bit better. Just trying to bring the point of that claw just nice and bony colour. Just on the inside here. Might have to switch out to the next brush. It's just barely anything coming off of that one. So okay, let's move over to here. Again, I'm just gonna wet the bristles here. Taking a bit too much water off my finger when I touch it onto the tissue. Okay. In with some bone white. Okay, here we go. Let's just bring the point of that claw out here. Oh, Kess says, yeah, hoping to do some dry brushing on Monday. Oh, wicked. Yeah, I'd love to know how you get on. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That claw's coming out nice and bright on the tip there now. Don't know if my camera's really showing that off too well, but yeah, in front of my eyes here, it's looking really, really good. Still really quite chalky, and that's probably just down to the fact that I'm still learning how to do it, and that it's maybe inferior brushes. Do you know what? This light can go up because I keep hitting it with my brush. That's better. It is certainly nice to actually be running a show with the camera working again. I was absolutely mortified at the end of last week, absolutely gutted, and I'm sure Kess can testify. Just the drop in the quality of the show last week, and it was completely out of my control as well. And that, in some ways, is the beauty of a live stream. But it's embarrassing, and I will always apologise for it. But it's nice to be actually seeing what I'm doing here. It's very good. The monitor that I'm viewing everything on over here is a very poor quality monitor, and I will be looking to replace it soon. So often when I'm saying things like, oh, I wonder if the camera's really picking it up, it might just be that I can't see it. I know that the cameras are actually pretty good in their quality when they're working. So it'll be nice to actually get a decent monitor. There are two behind me. I've got the big one there. There's a little one in the corner just beside it. But they are they're my gaming screens, and they're not appropriate for here. So yeah, I'll be getting a new one sometime soon. There we go. That's a better claw. Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. I actually like that one more than this one. I'll just go back and give that a bit of a touch up. Okay, cool. God, I'm so cool. Right, okay, so over to the other side now. I'm going to need a bit more paint, because it's that warm in here. The paint is drying before I've really got to use an awful lot of it. So just put another blob there. And if it's going to be drying that quickly, I'm just going to be using the paint in small amounts at a time, I think, to avoid any wastage. Though I am hoping to go to a Games Workshop tomorrow, taking my partner to the train station, and there's a Games Workshop right beside it, and I'm going to go in there and probably restock on some paints. Go and have a look at all the cool bits and pieces that are in there, and justify spending some money in places I don't need to. I don't think I'm going to buy any miniatures because I've got so much stuff here to get on with. Okay. The problem with this little brush that I'm using for dry brushing is I think the bristles are a little too long for it. So I've got another brush over here somewhere, which might be a little bit better. Trying to not go too heavy because it's a fresh blob of paint from the pot, and it might ruin the wash colours that are down there already. So I'm just going quite gentle there. I like this effect that's here, and just it may not look all that good once I start brightening up the tip of the claw, but it's actually quite a cool look right there. Let's see if I've got another brush. This is another brush. This one's actually a sable brush, and it's never really been all that good for anything other than the occasional bit of dry brushing. So I'm going to bring this one in because it's very, very soft, but much shorter bristles, and it might be that this is just a better brush for this job. So let's give it a try. I've also got quite a bit of time, not off, entirely off, but a bit of time coming back to me over this coming week. So I'm going to be here in the studio quite a bit over the next few days, in and around work, and I've got the next couple of days off, and my partner's going away. So I'm going to be up here just kind of painting away and really cracking on with this model, because I'm all too aware again that I'm spending a bit too much time on one model, and it's been ages since I've really got anything done. So I'm really, really keen to get this model finished. And even though it's not going to be on a live stream show, you can come and join me at any time that I'm online on Discord. So it's not just straight after the show. That is just the most common time that the Easy 8 after party runs, is after Easy 8. But if I'm online, I often have Discord on. You can come and join me and have a little look, see how the paint jobs are coming on. This brush is not doing such a good job. Let's move away from that one. Come back to that side there, because I think I'm about to ruin that if I'm not careful. I can see the difference here from this brighter appearance, and then turning it over, you can see the darker yellowy sepia tones that are in there. That really needs to be crushed down. That paint is dry already. That is incredible. The day is coming to an end here, so I'm hoping soon that it will start cooling down a little bit in here, because it is bonkers warm. And I know that I've got like a load of lights on and the computer's running and I'm streaming, so it's putting a bit more effort through the computer, but my goodness, is it warm in here today. Okay. Oh, fudged that a little bit. Let's just focus down towards the very point of the claw. Geoff says, you don't think you're going to buy new minis, but you never know. Hey. It's funny because it's true. I am considering buying the new Tyrannid Parasite of Mortrex. That is possibly the geekiest sentence I've ever said, but it's a really nice model. It's very different, and it's like this weird kind of character model that they've brought out. It's been in the like the stories and stuff for some years, and they decided that they would make a model for it. And it's actually at first I didn't really like it, but it's growing on me, like a Tyrannid Parasite. Okay, let's go in with the shorter, stiffer bristles here and see if I can bring the point of that claw a bit brighter. Get all that paint off my fingertip before I can put that all over my model. claw for some reason just being a bit trickier than the others, and I don't know why. But persistence, as long as it's not to the detriment of the appearance of the model. You can definitely see that it's got quite a bit chalkier in there, so I might come in and do a really thin layer of the colour paint over it in a bit, almost like a glaze, and just see if I can, you know, bring that back in. But really starting to blend in with the rest of the claws, which is really good. That first one I did over there is actually quite a bit different. There we go. So that's the 4 main claws. Now I've got these little stubbier ones down here, the 6th ones, and then it's just spikes all over, and I'm hoping that they're going to go quite quickly. Geoff says, what are you going to seal it with when it's done? Just a simple matte varnish. Yeah, it's just through the airbrush. I find this stuff's just excellent. I used to use rattle can varnish from Army Painter. They make a matte anti-shine varnish. It's really good, but you know, I try to avoid rattle cans wherever I can, because you kind of got to go into a ventilated space outside, and I like to be able to kind of just do it all in one area, so I use the airbrush for it. And it's a really good varnish, but obviously, you know, to spray it you need an airbrush. And rattle cans are expensive nowadays, man. I'm going to start on this one over here. Here we go. There we go, that's pretty good. What I really wanted these claws to do is, while maintaining that bone colour and have those different brown appearances, is I really wanted them to be quite white. Not pure white, obviously bone white. I really wanted them to stand out from the rest of the thing. So if it's too brown, if there's too much sepia in there, it actually kind of mixes with the white colours, the antique whites or the bone whites, and they really kind of blend off with the yellows. They become quite a yellowed appearance, like too much nicotine. And while the colour in it itself is actually very exciting, it's it gets lost back into the yellow of the whole Tyrannid. I don't want that. I know all you can see there is the bottom of the base. I apologise for that. There's very little I can do. I can move here. It's a bit awkward though. Just trying to get the underside of that claw there. That's not working too bad, that actually. There we go. Again, I'm going to need more paint. What happens if I use this one? This brush. Starting to look a little bit raggedy on this one here, because I'm actually hitting the grey on the arm plates there a little more than I would want, but those grey plates are going to be repainted anyway. It will just take a couple of seconds, and I'm just going to kind of do all those highlight colours that I've done on the back over here. I'm going to be doing on all of those armour plates, so that's fine. Again, I think I'm going to try a wash on that particular claw as well. Okay, a bit more paint. Just a tiny drop of water into those bristles there, activate that dry paint that's in there. Lovely. And onto this stubby arm claw here. Geoff says, Halford's primer when you're shopping tomorrow, remember, for your MDF stuff. Yes, that's a very good point. Thank you very much. More on that after the break, which we'll have in about 20 minutes. I think my tongue is being stuck out quite a bit this evening. Actually, genuinely, scientifically proven to help. And now for that very awkward side. Oh, this is the toughest one yet, this one. Let's see if I can get a bit more paint on the bristles there. Okay. Oh, this is tough. Okay, gonna go in with a different brush. Gonna go in with a stiff bristle brush. Okay, I'm not entirely happy with the way that's gone in there, but that's as good as I'm going to get for a minute, I think. So I'm just going to leave that, and again I might come back in and see if I can do a little wash over it. See if I can just use the stiff bristle brush on this claw here, this side, just to bring that point out a bit more. Just hitting the dry brushing from as many angles as possible, as it leaves a textured surface. The paint being left on it, and it's just sometimes it's a bit awkward to just get the colour in every little spot. Just like that little bit there, could be doing quite a bit whiter all the way down there, but already much better. And I think that white really does start to stand out. So here under the studio lights, for me, it's actually quite a bit yellow, but looking on the camera, I think that's okay. Would love to know what your thoughts are on that. My autofocus going crazy there. Yeah, I like it. It's good. Stands out more. Better than, oh, excuse me again. Better than when it was grey, for sure. Really like that. Okay, so let's think about all the little claws here and how I'm going to achieve that. So I've got some different brushes that I could use. I've got the Games Workshop large base brush. Not massively fond of this brush, and for some reason there isn't an awful lot of bend in those synthetic bristles. There's a little bit, but because of its design, actually might be quite good to get in right up against some of the smaller areas. So once again, a bit more paint because it is drying, man. There we go. I am just going to wash this brush out. Come back to you in a minute. Right. So I'm going to wet the bristles with this Games Workshop brush. Get a bit of the colour on there. That actually might have been a bit too much water because I think I just washed most of that paint out. Get some of that paint in there. There we go. Okay, so starting from the top is the easiest way to keep track as I go. I'm going to start on this side, work my way down. There's a lot of little claws on the way. So there is a big fingered claw here. Already too much paint. So that tells me to just bring that down a bit more. Okay, this is actually a sculpted claw, and my sculpting is awful. But yeah, Kess is saying looks good, thanks. Geoff says, do you think a very light dry brush on the smaller grey plates might be a good starting point for your painting, staining? Maybe a good time saver. Certainly on the smaller models, yeah, absolutely. So when I'm doing like the little gribblies to make a bigger horde, that is definitely what I want to be doing. But these bigger ones, it's nice to do something a bit more with them, isn't it? That's quite a good look there. I like that. That's good. Okay. So working my way down now, I've got 3 little ones here. So what I'm going to do is just on the edges there, I'm just going to run the brush along, but not the whole length of the claw, just sort of the edges, and then just gently apply a little bit further down, and then that really brings them out super quick, super cheaty. Nice, that worked. They've got an underside to them. They're like a... You've got a triangular cross section, the claws, so you've got to make sure you get the underside. And then awkwardly get in here. Got quite a sore shoulder for some reason. Nice. Okay, that looks pretty cool. Gonna come in and change this all up again later on with some Agrax Earthshade. I've got a sneaky claw hidden up there, but I might hit that with a bit of a detail brush because it's so hidden away. I've got these ones on the front here, which again, just a little bit of this brush. This brush is actually very good for this. Where was this brush earlier on, huh? Bring that light in a bit closer. There we go. Nice. Oh, it's nice when a plan comes together, isn't it? Sound like Hannibal from the A-Team. Love it when a plan comes together. Okay, just gonna get a bit of water. There's bristles there. There we go. Was I in shot then? Stafford has joined us. Sorry for being late. I is here. Hello, Stafford. Thanks for coming along. Don't worry about being late, man. I barely talked last week. I was awfully late. We all have lives. We've got working lives. It's just nice to see your name there in the live chat. Welcome to the show. Would love to know what it is you're working on tonight if you've got a project that you're working on. That's a really tricky claw to get into there, that is. There, that's gone pretty well there. These are all coming out very, very well. Loving it. Okay, so now I'm going to do the claw on top of this finger here. If I flip that over, you'll see now the difference. Yeah, quite different. These little claws, because they're so small, where the Seraphim sepia has been used, and it's kind of pooled at the base of where the knuckle is, or the joint that it kind of joins back into the skin, may not have to have the Agrax Earthshade because the appearance is what I want from that. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be any need for any of that. Stafford says Gaslands car number 2. Excellent. Love a bit of Gaslands. More on that after the intermission. Okay, little claws just down the side here, just like on the first arm. Nothing too much. Just focusing on the tips of the claws, and then just by the nature of dry brushing, you accidentally hit the rest of it, but just subtly, and it gives quite a nice feathering effect, or blending effect. Just like Geoff was saying just a second ago, it's kind of like just speeding it up by applying cheating techniques. Nice. That couldn't be any better, really. Now onto the last little claw arm thing down here. Top finger there. It's looking super cool. Stafford says, I may have discovered the death ray. Yeah, he says, Kess. Yeah, exasperated looks. Yeah, in Gaslands there is a weapon called the death ray. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It's a ray. It applies death. I don't think you should move away from the nuclear engine though, Stafford. I think that works very well for you. You know, take a nuclear engine, have an accent, explode in a small mushroom cloud, and take out an area of land the size of Asia. It works. It's a tactic, and you rock that tactic. Okay. A couple of very difficult to reach claws in here. So I'm going to do the best I can with this particular brush, and I might have to move on to another one in a minute. Maybe. Maybe not. Just trying to be very careful that I don't get it onto the grey stuff that I've been working on over the last few weeks, because that would be galling if I did that. Again, with these little ones here, I'm probably going to come in with a small detail brush later on and just do a very similar approach, but it's just nice and narrow to get into lots of these nooks and crannies and things. Because this brush here, trying to get in there, awkward. Can't even move it from side to side in there. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing there, I think. Okay, down the side of this little arm, there's these little claws on the forearm here. Just gonna just rake this brush across the edges of those, just against the very points. Flakes of painty dandruff coming out of the brush, which just kind of shows you how damaging to your brush dry brushing actually is. Yep, dandruffy paint bits everywhere. Starting to cool down a little bit in this studio. Can actually change into my shirt a bit, I think. It was stonking hot a minute ago. Right, just another dollop of Screaming Skull, just a little one, just to finish this little arm off here. Perhaps a bit more than that. There we go. Again, just a little drop of water just into the bristles. Doesn't take an awful lot on this particular brush I discovered, probably because there's not an awful lot of bristle. Like I said, it's very rigid, so I wonder if there's actually on the inside there's not a lot of bristle, like it bends only halfway, so it doesn't take long for it to absorb water and paint. It means if I put too much water in and I'm dry brushing, I'm just going to wipe it all out, cleaning the brush effectively. Okay. quite a bit of paint actually in this brush here, and like I said, should have used it on some of the other claws, because that little bit there where I wasn't able to get the colour right, working very well with this brush. Darren's joined us. Evening. Hi Darren, nice to see you again, mate. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so what I want to do before I go for an intermission is just get the inside of this forearm here, just get those claws on the inside, just the edges of them, just the points, and then they'll stand out enough in the background, and that's plenty enough there. This brush is working wonders on this dry brushing, even on these bigger claws, so I might just have a quick pass over what I've already done with this brush. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. I'm a little bit annoyed about the contrast on this little wipe here. Clearly while I was experimenting to see if I could get the Seraphim sepia to behave in a way that you wouldn't normally expect. I could see what I was trying to do, didn't work very well, but whatevs. You know, it is what it is. I'm not going to go back and fix it now. Time to finish the model, right? Okay, cool. Let's come away from there for just a second. God, my shoulder's really poorly. Sore, man. Sore. So, yeah, now a little time to take a quick break, just for a few minutes. I'm going to go and change into my normal shirt that I would normally wear, because I like to keep up good appearance. It was just so hot to wear. It's starting to cool down a little bit now. I'm going to open up another window, just trying to try and get some flow and air through here. And I might actually help the paint stop drying so quickly, because it is drying very, very fast. Yeah, and we'll take a 10-minute break, come back, and I'll talk to you all about the expedition down to Exeter. Too many X's in that sentence, and tell you about my recent hoard of models that I've bought that I'm very excited to talk about. But in the meantime, you should go and change your paint water. Don't talk about it, just go and do it. See you in a minute. Bye. Hi, welcome back. Got the shirt on, got both windows open. There's a lovely breeze coming in through here. I don't know why I didn't have both windows open earlier on, but there is a bit of noise outside, so you might hear that. Might, you know, ruin the experience. The fact that I do actually live in an area where you can hear other people. If you can, I apologise, but it needs to happen. Look how red my face is. It's that warm in here. It's mental. It's not even summer yet. Anyway, yeah, I've just been over the intermission, just been carrying on with claws. I found a couple more that are very, very difficult to do, so I'm just going to give my eyes a bit of a rest from that for a second. I'm just going to move these away. I would like to talk about the Legionary Wargames convention show down in Exeter that myself and my dad Geoff, who was in the live chat, went to over the weekend. Geoff from Purple Lion Creations, and we just went down to go see what it was about. First time that we'd heard about it, first time we'd definitely ever been there, obviously. So we just kind of went down to go and, you know, talk, you know, find other people and talk about war games and models, and just kind of spread word about Easy 8 and spread word about Purple Lion Creations, and just see who else was around. We met up with some people that we do know, and we met lots of people that we don't know. And a few people actually came up to me and said, "Oh, I recognise you from Easy 8." So, like I said at the beginning of the show, it was so humbling to know that people watch the show. So, hello to you. Thank you very much for being a part of what I do here, what we do here. It makes my day. It makes my week coming here at the end of the week and just kind of painting away for a little bit. While I was at Exeter, there were loads of things to see, and there was some bring and buy stuff. And I literally, the first table I went to, I want all that. I had to walk away and go around and literally have a walk around all of the tables before I got my wallet out, because I was going to spend a lot of money, because it's just exciting when you go and you want to kind of put some money. I wanted to buy something, because I like to buy at least one little thing when I go away. I got the hiccups today. I like to always buy something when I go away, just because it's part of the experience, right? I ended up buying quite a few bits and pieces, because there was just some wonderful things there, and it's not necessarily about my phone's picking up my voice. It's not just about you know, buying stuff for games. It's about buying models that I really like the look of. So I want to talk about some of the models that I got and the people who supplied them to me. The first person that I want to talk about, and I can't remember the guy's name, but I've got the business card here of the company, so you can see it here. The company is, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Disane Studio. So I've got the business card, which I'll put up on the camera if it's working in just a minute. Disane Studio, there's a link to the website just down there in the description of this video. And the gentleman that I met when I was talking to for quite a while just basically has a resin 3D printer and just prints off things that he likes. And there was a very eclectic mix of things in various scales, and it was just it was absolutely fabulous, absolutely fascinating stuff there. And there was a whole bank of tables of people that had been printing stuff, and I was just drawn back to this table here. The gentleman was very, very nice, very polite, as they all were, but this guy had some dinosaurs, and the child in me says you can't pass up on a good dinosaur, so I didn't. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you over to the workbench, and I'm hoping is my mouse has stopped working. I'm hoping that I will be able to show you on the camera that doesn't normally work. Let me just play with my mouse. There's always something that has to go wrong on this show, isn't there? I have a little battery mouse for the show here, and sometimes just by putting the battery in, there it is, it's back again, working. I need to get some quality stuff here, clearly. Let's take it over to the workbench. Fingers crossed that camera's still working. Here we go. Okay, cool. So, let's bring this in a little bit. Turn away the light so you can actually see. Disane Studio. 3D printing and design for war gamers. I hope I pronounced this correctly. Arved Asma. Maybe that's a name. I don't know. I was talking to the gentleman, and a fascinating gentleman, an avid interest in 3D printing, making war games, etc. The first thing that drew my attention to the table was this TARDIS. My partner is very, very much into Doctor Who. And I wanted to bring back a little something for her, just for the fun of it. I saw the TARDIS, as the gentleman said to me, it's not a TARDIS, it is a non-IP infringing police box. So yeah, cool. I got one of these. I know that John Takax from Out of This World Models and Minis, another gentleman on YouTube who I talk to all the time, I mention every week, is absolutely he's like one of the biggest fans of Doctor Who as well. And I kind of wanted to do this. I was going to clean it up. There's a few little nubs of resin left on here where the supports were, where it came out of the machine. That's all got to be cleaned up, and I'm just going to do a simple and quick paint job of it, and just kind of give it to my partner so she can either put it on the mantelpiece along with some other bits and pieces, or on the dashboard of a car or whatever. I just thought it'd be quite charming, just something that I thought people might enjoy. So that was the first one there. You could tell it's a 3D print, resin 3D print, because it's hollow and has a hole at the bottom where when it cures on the outside and it can't get to the stuff on the inside. So you have to have somewhere to pour the liquid out, because that can affect the actual quality overall. Anyway, I saw some dinosaurs. One of the main prints that I was like, I'm not leaving here without this, is it's not a dinosaur, but it is a prehistoric giant terror bird. And it's just fantastic miniature, fantastic pose, superb detail. I've only ever held like a couple of 3D prints in my hands in my life, and to see something that I am genuinely fascinated with, because I am putting myself through school so that I can study paleontology. I am fascinated with prehistoric creatures. This to me was just something that was a little bit different, a little bit unordinary, if you will. And I thought, yeah, I absolutely have to have it. And I said to the gentleman who was selling me these things, I said, are these your own sculpts? He said some of them are a mixture of files that are out there freely available, and some of them are his own sculpts as well. And I didn't want to be rude by asking which ones were and weren't his, but I thought to myself, I absolutely have to have this creature. Doesn't stand up on his own, so we'll need a base. But yeah, I'm probably going to leave this till a bit later on while I'm happy. I need to have like an idea on how I'm going to paint it. I'm going to do a lot of airbrushing with it, I think. But what colours do I do? I don't know yet. I'm going to have a look through a lot of little books and pictures online, and just see what sort of colours look striking and make this thing look as terrifying as it must have been. Fantastic model. I also saw, and again, couldn't walk away without it. There was a T-Rex. It's just absolutely fascinating model. Again, it's a big model. Some big holes just underneath in here where the interior could drain, because it's a hollow thing. That would be a lot of resin otherwise. It needs a bit of a clean, I think. There's some little artifacts here, like little, I don't know if that's like just a bit of loose resin that will come away with a toothbrush, and a bit of washing up liquid, and it's shiny in some places. And I don't really know much about 3D printing in the resin world, so I thought it might be a good idea to give him a little bit of a clean. I was really looking forward to painting him the other day, but I haven't had a chance to do anything at all, and I kind of got an idea what I want to do with him in my head. Might make him quite crocodilian, because the greens will be quite nice on him, but it would also be quite nice to do like maybe some sort of browns or something on there. I'm not going to go wild with the colours on him. I'd like to make him kind of like traditional, as what we would expect. Kess is going, pink, paint it pink. No, although that would be quite terrifying, seeing a pink T-Rex. Just the detail on this guy is just incredible. I absolutely loved him. So yeah, that was that one there. And for the gas lander in me, he had several scales of motorbikes. He had some 28mm motorbikes, and he had some I forget what scale these were supposed to be now, 24mm. But yeah, various motorbikes for Gaslands. I got a couple. Oh, that little bag was stuck to me. I got a couple of it looks like the same sort of sculpt, so the same bike, the same sort of rider on there, just to have them on bases, and they're just going to be like really fast speed freaks. Very, very vulnerable, but very, very maneuverable, very, very fast. Cool. I've got a similar one here, but this guy's holding a pistol. I suppose it doesn't really matter in the game what they're supposed to be armed with. You could arm with whatever you want, but the visual is that this guy's carrying a pistol. Love it. Ever so slightly different back to this one, so if you have a look at the saddles here on these two bikes, you can see that they're the same. This one here has kind of like a sweeping bit up at the back. Fantastic models, brilliant detail. And then I've got this one here where there's another rider on the back, dual wielding two pistols. One looks like it's a semi-auto, the other one looks like it might be a revolver. The detail on them is phenomenal. It's actually quite a different design bike as well. I like it. Very road rashy as well. Wonderful models, and I just had to have them. And they were very affordable, and it had such a range. It was very easy for me to wipe out the whole table. So I had to buy what I was interested in and walk away. I bought those two here, and actually these two and the Terror Bird were a gift from my dad, Geoff, for taking them all the way down to Exeter. So thanks very much. I really appreciate that, and I just don't know what I'm going to do to paint that Terror Bird up yet. I've got to do a lot of research on him. I'm not a very good painter, and I want to really do it some justice. That'd be cool. So yeah, those are the things that I got from Disdain Studio. Definitely head over to the website. I say the link is in the description to the video, and it's really nice opportunity for me to kind of share on this channel. It's kind of what it's all about. Other people's work and the businesses that you know that they provide their work through. So do go and check them out, because it's definitely worth your time. Very affordable, very fun. The next set of models that I bought were from Last Man Last Bullet, and this I believe was a husband and wife sat behind the table. Could be wrong. That's just me making an assumption through observation. Terribly sorry if it's not. These guys were selling, they had lots of hanging racks and blister packets of various scales of all sorts of different World War II, generally World War II, scatter terrain. And because I play a lot of tank games in 15mm, I've been looking for a while for 15mm scatter terrain. And you do find a lot of 20mm, but 15mm isn't so widely seen. So in this blister packet here is a really big pillbox. A very simple design, perfectly printed. It doesn't matter if it has imperfections in the print, because pillboxes weren't ornate structures. They were crudely poured concrete. And what I really like, even in 15mm, is that you can see, hoping that it's picking it up on the camera, you can see all the lines that you will see on a pillbox where they were literally poured layers of concrete and then stacked. And then actually in the windows and the ports, you can see all the different stepping, which kind of made it difficult for you to shoot people inside, but made it very easy for them to have a wider angle, you know, a wider angle field angle. Yeah, you know what I mean. Little window there, little window there, little window there, and a door on the back. And you could kind of design some terrain for this to fit onto, and have, you know, the insides if you wanted. I'm not going to do that because it's a 15mm game. I play very fast games with it, and it's just nice to have a piece of scattered terrain that kind of fits in. These are going to be very easy to paint. It's just going to be grey, a lot of dry brushing, and I might kind of grind them up a little bit. So that was that one. That's the largest one I got, which I was really into. Then I got a couple of other little ones. Let's see if I can open this. Very difficult to open this little packet here. Can I? There we go. This one, another pillbox, but in a smaller sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided shape. This is the first one that I saw, and there was another one that was very similar, a slightly different shape, very similar size though. And this is just a machine gun nest. So the idea is that the troops would go through the back door here. You got a couple of little windows, and you can just see, you know, through these little windows here. So this one here would have like is it a Pack 40 in there? A very big gun, probably causing a lot of damage to a lot of things. And then here, just probably a small squad of soldiers shooting out the windows. Again, the level of detail, it's the actual stippling concrete effect that I'm not sure if the camera's really picking up, that I really enjoy. But you can see all the layers again in there. You can see that they've got the stepping in the windows. Just a fabulous little thing to have for scatter terrain. And then, just when I was about to go up and buy my bits and pieces, my dad, who was with me, Geoff that is, spotted this tiny little one. And when he saw it, he went, oh, I was like, oh thanks, now I have to have it, don't I? So I bought this one as well. Again, just a very small machine gun nest shed, if you will. Layered concrete, stippled concrete effect. It's going to look really good. Very simply, I'm just going to dry brush them. And they will blend in very well with my 15mm tanks. Here is my Panzer 4. So you can see that it's going to be nice just to have some you know, features to move around in, and then maybe over time I might buy a few more bits and pieces from them. Definitely go over and check out Last Man Last Bullet. They got loads of scales, literally loads of scales, and they've got loads of different models as well. They got things from the Maginot line, so they got the domed machine gun turrets. They've got all the giant, you know, I don't know what they are. They're like giant jacks made of concrete, and you just saw them dropped into the water on the coastlines. Yeah, they've got loads of it. I would have bought everything, but you know, steady on. So that's Last Man Last Bullet. Again, link in the description. Definitely go and check them out. Please go and check them out. It's worth your while. And then the last one was Blots. Blots.co.uk. Manufacturers of wargaming terrain and accessories in both MDF and acrylic. Thousands of different things to go and have a look at in virtually every genre, from Wild West to spacefaring, sci-fi. You definitely need to go and check them out. If you are into Gaslands, World War II, Battletech, Infinity, you need to go and check this website out because it's very, very affordable. And I was just fascinated by the display and the massive ring-bound catalogue that was on the front of the table. And I got talking to the gentleman who was very, very kind and is also a Gaslands player as well. We had a really good conversation about Stafford's nuclear engines, funnily enough. And we just got talking about all the wonderful things that can happen in the game, and I've realised that I had to walk away with this set of Gasland gates. They're not even out of the packets yet. He had these actual photos here are his display models that he had on the workbench, and they are a very simple affair, but they are very effective. They were very affordable. So there's 4 gates in here, numbered 1 to 4, for £8, so £2 a gate. And then on this one here, I've got slightly larger ones with start and finish written on them, and that was £4 for the 2 on there. And the website has even more stuff than what was available in the catalogue and on his display bench. It just says that there's so many different extras and additions and things that you can buy for them all. He has some wonderful modern and futuristic looking buildings right down to 6mm. So somewhere between 6 and 10mm is the traditional scale for Battletech. So it depends on basically how big you want your buildings so you can hide behind them, as the gentleman that's selling these items was telling me. It depends if you want like 6mm or 10mm buildings. But if you're into Battletech and you want some buildings that are either contemporary to our period now, or if you want something that kind of looks, there's some Middle Eastern buildings like from Dubai and things like that, and there's some other buildings that just look a little bit out there. For Battletech, absolutely ideal. Definitely go and check those out. He had crashed staff says they go boom, they do, mate. They had a crashed spaceship that was I can only describe as it looks like the scene, or is reminiscent of the scene from the new Star Wars trilogies, where you see Rey Skywalker pretty much living in around the giant engine funnel of a Star Destroyer crashing into the sand. That kind of a concept, but just very, very good. There's terrain that looks like it's designed for Necromunda, so all the different sort of dangerous hazardous scenery that you can have, like the meat grinder. Go and check it out. You won't be disappointed. That's Blots. So again, all of these people that I went to go and see, the links for their businesses are in the description just down below. It'll just take you 5 minutes to go and have a little click and have a little look. I actually sent these guys an email, each of them, just saying that I was just fascinated by their displays. I found them to be very, very friendly and kind people, and yeah, their ranges are just brilliant. Go and have a look because it's definitely worth your time. There you go. Some stuff that I got at Exeter. I had a cracking time. Thanks, Dad, for inviting me along and paying for the tickets and buying me some cool presents and stuff, because, yeah, that was great. I think the next event that we're probably going to go to now is probably going to go back to the Tank Museum. And probably about a couple of months ago now, Easy 8 hit the road and we went out en masse. And a whole bunch of us all went out to the Tank Museum for a model show that was down there. And we had a great time. But the model show was actually just a small part of the features that we wanted to go and see. So we want to go back and have a look at all the bits that basically the model show is in the way of, because they're all obviously going to occupy some space down there. So we want to go back and have a look at all the detailed bits and the things that we didn't get a chance to see. And yeah, so if you're interested to go back to the Tank Museum with Easy 8 back on the road, then put a comment down there in the comment section. Talk to me over there on Facebook. Just give us a call or pop around if you're in the local area, and let's go back to Bovington Tank Museum. You could be anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. You're welcome to come along. So let's make that happen. Anyway, wonderful. Really looking forward to painting some of those models. It's gonna be great. Let's go back to the Trygon, because the Trygon continues. So you can see now that the I'm just going to enlarge my screen again because I can't see anything. It's such a small monitor. You can see that I've been doing the whites on the claws. It's really starting to stand out a bit more now. Let's get some light back in here. There we are. Darren says, what date are you thinking of? Don't know yet. Literally just something to think about. So if you are interested in going, if you've got some suggestions in mind of when you would like to go, let's talk about it. Let's open it up for a public discussion. It's not just me that wants to go, it's everybody. So if you want to go, let's just get that conversation started. I've got some very interfering things that are coming up on my screen. Let's just get rid of those. Can I get rid of those? It'd be very nice if I could. There we go, got rid of it. Don't know what that was, some jargon that was coming up. Yeah, so I'm just going to basically carry on doing the dry brushing here. Just going to make sure that my brush is still supple because I've left it there on the side. It's got a bit of paint left in there. Some crappy bits of old dry paint coming out of it as I'm using it a bit, so I'm just going to make sure that's coming out too. Back in with the bone colour. And again, I'm just going to put a little drop of, just a drop of water just onto the edge of these bristles. There's not a lot of bristles to this brush, so too much water really overactivates the paint, and yeah, ruins the dry brush effect. So I've got to be careful here. It's like a foundation going on my skin. Okay, cool. These mandible claws, I don't really like them. I don't think they're very well thought out. I don't like this little pointy bit that kind of kicks back. I think that's a little bit rubbish. But yeah, make of it what you will. And the way that the dry brushing has gone on this side here, I haven't done it on that one, but on this side here, not really into that. So maybe as I kind of play with it, and it'll change. So I started on this side over here. These finger claws here still need work. They're very difficult to paint. So rather than kind of messing it up, I just stopped, and I stopped before I even got to this one over here. So they still need to be done. That's okay. That's cool. Some people talking about it there. Darren says, give me a shout. Okay, yeah, about the times for going to Bovington Tank Museum. Basically, just keep an eye on the Facebook page, because that's probably where the conversation will go down. And then when we've got something kind of fixed in place, I'll talk about it here on the show. And then, you know, if you are genuinely interested, I will message you personally if you like. Okay, so, excuse me. Just down the side of the claws here on the side of this arm, I'm hoping to have all of this dry brushing done by the end of the show, and actually moving into the Agrax Earthshade. That's really where I want to be by the end today. And I'm hoping that I won't have to revisit the dry brushing, but it might be that I have to do a little bit, because I don't know what the Agrax Earthshade is going to do. Is it going to run away with me? Is it going to ruin the cool effects that I've already got? And I'm hoping just to apply just a small amount of it, again, just up around the edges, just to enhance the illusion of depth. Lovely. They didn't come out as well as they did on the other side. They're a little bit harder to get to as well. Get a bit more paint in there. There we go. It's weird, as I'm putting the paint down on this tissue, it's very clearly a very bone colour. You can see the difference. It's not a white colour at all. When I'm applying it over the wash of sepia on the claws, it's coming out almost an electric white. It's quite a bizarre optical illusion. Probably gone a bit too far, and there's little claws in there. Oops, it happens. It's okay. Not to worry. Not every claw was made the same. Now the ones down the side of the ribs here. In some really weird positions, which is good because you know it's an organic creature and they're not always just going to be facing in this kind of mechanical lined up thing. They're going to be twitching and moving, and gives it a lot more of a dynamic pose. I like it. And you know, this model was a gift. It was already pre-made. It wasn't painted, or it had a bit of paint on it, and I stripped it down to match it in with my army. Gifted to me by the wonderful Leslie Stebbing. Thank you so much, Leslie. I know you're not watching tonight. You've got some things to attend to, but hopefully you'll watch it back on the replay and you'll hear me thank you for the 15,000th time. It was a very kind gesture to give me all of these models. But obviously being made up, it wasn't made by me. I probably would have made it in a very mechanical pose. It's quite nice to have it in this thing where it's just like they're just pointing off in random directions. Because it would do it. That's an awkward set of claws to get to here, isn't it? This one here quite easy. Put a little drop of, oh, probably a bit too much, bit of drop of water in the bristles there, just to activate that paint. It's actually starting to clam up a little bit in there. There's some flakes of the paint coming out, and that might be affecting the performance. That's why I'm not getting such cleaner patterns going down. Well, actually, since I put that water in there, it's actually coming out much better. I stand corrected. That's cool, that's cool. So yeah, so that's probably the best thing I've learned recently about painting, is that dry brushing actually shouldn't be dry, like dry. It should be damp brushing. Right, let's just do the edges of these ones here. Just the undersides in there. There's actually a mould line on those claws there, but you wouldn't know unless you were really, really looking for it, so who cares? It's the tricky bit, it's just getting in here. I know you really can't see what I'm painting there, but it's one of those things where I can't really. Oh, so difficult. It's one thing being able to paint in miniatures, another thing being able to paint it and actually do it on a camera and show everybody. It's very, very difficult. Again, just another drop of water just into the bristles there. Okay, and now for the mandible on this side. Again, I can see that you're just painting here, Geoff says, because moist brushing just sounds so wrong. Well, there you go. My gift to you. I am aware that I am showing you the bottom of the base while I paint something pretty much out of shot. It's the only way that I can get in there. Unfortunately, that actually looks really good under the mandible, but it's on the underside. And on the top doesn't actually look anywhere near as good as what I've just done down there. Let's see if I can recreate the same. Not so much. Oh well, I'll keep working on it. Okay, well, at least it looks nice and white rather than yellowed off, which is really, really good. So just the last few claws down here, and then it is all those little ones around the outside of the tail, and I'm hoping that it's literally just a brush, and just kind of pick all that up. Yeah, but I do need some more paint. Just must keep on painting. It's the only way you'll ever get through your horde. If you've got a lot of stuff to paint, just keep going. Just do it. Just get paint on your model. Just shut up and get it painted. No more mountains of unpainted models. Quit your job. Put the child down. Don't feed the dog. Just lock yourself away in a room and get painting. You'll thank me for it later. Oh yeah, I have hurt my shoulder today. I am not sure how I've done that at all. Okay, so down to the last little arm down here, and a couple of little spiky bits that are sticking out the side over here. On a bit too heavy. That's not really dry brushing, that is just brushing. I use this big claw just to kind of get most of the paint out of it, where I wanted that colour to be a bit bolder down the end there. It's a great opportunity to just get the heavy paint out of the brush. Yes, brilliant. Okay, cool. Now I can come back to the little spikes. Oh, Chris the Wolf. Wow, that sounds healthy. Hi, Chris. Have you been watching from the beginning, keeping yourself quiet in the background there, or have you just joined us? Nice to see you again, mate. Okay, that's pretty cool. Just the last few claws down here. Okay, again, I'm just a tiny drop of water in the bristles. Make up a bit of paint. There we go. So, Kess, going back to the dry brushing conversation where we were talking about how effective is the damping pad. Just this little experiment that I've been doing today by having a little droplet of water on my fingertip and applying it to the bristles of the dry brush has been working fantastic. There's a noticeable difference in the transferring of paint from bristle to model. And it is helping me to eliminate the chalky residue. So with an actual dedicated brush set and a proper damping pad, it should be the tool that you've been looking for. So yeah, definitely do tell the community on how you get on. It will be really cool. Chris says, I was here since the break, lurking a little. Yeah, you lurker. Nice to see you again, man. Hope you're doing well. Oh, a bit too thick there with the dry brushing. Oh, and again, there's a dollop in the brush there somewhere. There, I've got it. Oh, it's still there. You might be able to hear a dog barking. Sorry. Kess saying that's good to hear. It'd be interesting to see how it goes on Monday. Yeah, I'm really quite interested. The reason I want to get into it is because I want there to be an easy yet very effective way to get some of the AdMech stuff done. You know, all the steampunk Martian dudes and all their machines. And there's a lot of kind of metal stuff that I want to do in there, and I just want to have a go at this method. And hopefully it will give me a really good burnished steel look. Okay, that is, apart from the spikes that I can't reach very well, there's one down there, there's another one down there, and then one either side of the head, and there. These ones I'll do later, but these ones that are hard to reach, I'm just going to have to go in with a little detail brush, probably one of my little sable brushes. It's a very, very tiny one. Where is it? Here. And I'll just kind of pick them out a little bit, just so that the details just stand out a little. But for now, down to the tail, which I've not been looking forward to for some reason. Either be really, really easy or really, really difficult. So I'm just going to put a drop of water again into those bristles. Not much. A bit of paint in there, and as I start dry brushing on the paper, it activates all that paint. Really, really easy to see. Yeah. We're getting quite close to the end of the show now. So is the camera going to still work while I do a fade transition? It is fantastic. Yeah, if you are interested in seeing what this model looks like with all the claws all dry brushed up and with some Agrax Earthshade on them, head on over to Facebook, where Easy8 is over there as well, and I will put photos up as this model develops over the next 24-48 hours especially. Yeah. And then I can get on and do the rest of the carapaces. The reason I've really come to do all the claws and stuff now is because these armor bits here will just be in the way, and any work that I do with all this dry brushing, I would have ruined it. And I got bored of doing carapace for a while, let's be honest. A bit more paint in there, there we go. Struggling there for a minute, but actually starting to get that effect back in now, which is good. It's one of those things that I thought like doing all the dry brushing on all the claws is actually going to be really, really quick, but it's a 2-hour show and it's all I've been doing, and it's not the only show that I've been doing the claws on. So yeah, 2 hours of dry brushing, and I'm really trying to rush as well, whilst keeping my quality good. It's looking good though. It's good when I can compare it to one that's not been dry brushed and I can see the difference. And I was getting a bit concerned last week when I started to, or the last couple of weeks, when I started to kind of wash that original colour down, and it was just so yellowed. It just, everything that I'd done to stop them from being so hidden away in the block of colours that were there, showing them all in, getting them all white, they really stood out. And then when I've washed them, they all just blended away again. I was really concerned that it wasn't going to stand out. But you've got to see the little project through to the end before you can really kind of make a judgment on it, because they're really starting to stand out now, and that is super cool. And it's really, really fast. 2 hours doesn't sound like it's fast, but for what I'm doing, it's great, right? There we go, that's all the way around there. They're pretty much done down there. And now it's these really awkward ones in here. Kess says, went too heavy with my wash. Need to dry brush some of the colour back onto my mechs. Oh, is that what you're going to be using the dry brushes for on Monday, or is that something that you're looking at doing kind of like now? It is easy to go too far with the wash. My top tip with washes is just slow down, just take your time. If you've got a horde to get through, just slow down. Yeah. And I know that, do you know what, generally as war gamers and painters, we might not all be the most patient people in the world. I am certainly not, and you just want to get them done. But yeah, just take a little bit of extra time and maybe water the wash down a little bit, perhaps. Spend a bit of extra time just kind of manipulating the wash around the model, not letting it pull up, or like in this case, just being too heavy. But if it fixes with a simple dry brush, then jobs are good, and right, who cares? Hopefully they'll look really, really good, and I'm sure they will. I think these claws that are down on the base are going to be quite important, because they're going to be the really easy ones to see. So you're making sure that they look all right. I think it's going to be quite important. There's not looking so great. Can I get just a little drop of water on my finger and just give it a bit of a wipe over? Did that work? A bit of moisture on it now, so maybe when I put a bit of dry brushing on it, it should blend. That certainly helped. Okay, it's like the last little bit now. And now the last two little bits, just these little spiky bits just underneath the pincer there. Oh, okay, says yeah, for Monday. Cool. And then just onto the other side. Yeah, these two little things here, because they were quite small and close to the yellow, they really blended off into the yellow with that Seraphim Sepia, but now really standing out strong with this bone white colour. And everything else now looks very, very different to this pincer, so I'm just going to give it a quick once over, just to sort of match the whole tone of the model, if you like. A little bit more colour on the brush there. Just another drop of water, just a little one. There we are. It's looking really good. I'm really happy with it. Now you can see that when I was painting it last time, there's actually a bit of a mistake here. So there's like a big smush of white that's just kind of very obvious there. But fortunately it's on a side of the model that you won't see very much unless you're looking for it. It's actually taken me till now to realise it is there. So yeah, I'm not really going to bother fixing that. That is everything I wanted. I'm really, really happy with that. It's actually looking very, very dark on the screen here. I'm hoping that it really shows off what it is. on your end. I will take some photographs of it and I will put them all up on Facebook, because Easy 8 is not just here on YouTube, it is also on Facebook. So you should go and have a little check over there as well. Cool! What a great place to finish. Bada bing. I don't know why I said that. There you go. Right, well, only 5 minutes left to go, but should probably leave it there and not start under anything too extreme. I'm going to take a short break and then I'm going to head on over to Discord. Let's come away from this workbench right here. Where are we? Here we go. Quite productive, really. I mean, 2 hours just to be painting claws, but they're pretty much done. I am going to play with a little bit of Agrirex Earthshade, and I'm going to really water it down, and I'm just going to kind of just tease it into like the bases of the claws and things, just to kind of offer a little bit more depth on them. But other than that, I'm really happy with the majority of those claws. The mandibles, just a very disappointing feature on the model, but for the rest of it, I really like it. Still don't know what I'm going to do with that tongue. It might be one of those things that I finish the model and have to come back to it sometime later to kind of finish that off. But that's fine, that's okay. That's what this hobby's all about, is just finding something that works as and when, really. So yeah, there you go. It's been a cracking evening. I hope you guys that have been painting stuff at home, Kess with your nails, Staff with your Gasland cars, whatever it is you've been painting tonight, I hope that you've had some fun and some successes. Do please take photographs of what you were doing, stick them over on the mentions page or the community tab on Easy 8's Facebook page, and if you're so inclined, just share it with the rest of the community, because I'd love to see what it is that you are doing tonight, or just in general. Not just tonight, going forward as well. Don't forget that there are links down there in the description of the video to go and see people like Blots, like Last Man, Last Bullet, and Disdain Studios, amongst others that are also on there. So Graham Henderson at Wet Palette Miniatures, a painting service of phenomenal standard. You should definitely go and check that out there. Colin Farrant at Charlie Foxtrot Models make some of the highest quality MDF laser cut buildings that you will ever see, right down to 20mm the scale. I met up with Colin chatted for ages down at Exeter. He's a true gentleman, and you should definitely go and have a look at his stuff. There's links to his Facebook page and his website down there as well, so definitely go and check those out. And of course there's Geoff, my dad at Purple Lion Creations, and I don't just say it because he's my dad. He makes some phenomenal bespoke models, so made to order, and you should go check out his Facebook page and his website and see the current build that he's building at the moment, because as far as I'm aware, it's occupying the majority of his house space. It's that big. So yeah, go and check these guys out. And also, don't forget John Takax over at Out of This World Models and Minis, which is another YouTube channel where John just kind of paints what he wants when he wants, because that's what he likes to do, and it's really, really good, and it's really good fun as well. So yeah, go check all those guys out. Have yourselves a brilliant week. And that's everything from me, really. So until next time, keep on painting, stay safe, be kind, see you soon. Cheers now, bye-bye. All the claws coming out of everywhere.